Hey Panthers, this video is talking about the basics of dividing fractions, and as you can see there are 4 simple steps to dividing fractions. Now we've talked about simplifying fractions, we've talked about equivalent fractions, we've talked about adding and subtracting fractions, and we've done multiplication. And multiplication and division are pretty close to each other, so if you felt pretty good about the multiplication process, you'll feel pretty good about the division process as well. So the 4 simple steps that you need to follow. Step 1 is you're going to turn the second fraction upside down or flip it, okay? And this is called the reciprocal. In other words, if I gave you the fraction 2/3 and asked you to find the reciprocal of 2/3, it means to flip it. So that would mean you reverse the order and you'd get 3/2. So what you're going to do is you're going to find the reciprocal of the second fraction in your problem, and again make sure it's the second one and not switching the first one, but you find the reciprocal of the second fraction and then you change the division sign into a multiplication sign. So we've had a lot of weird things this year that we've learned, you know, when we're dealing with integers, instead of subtracting you add the opposite, so you do 2 opposites. I'm trying to think what else we did this year that it's kind of backwards, but this is just another example. So instead of dividing fractions, we multiply by the opposite, or we multiply by the reciprocal. And you learned in the video yesterday to do some cross-canceling. You're multiplying to save you some steps. Multiply your remaining fractions. Remember, you multiply the numerators together and you multiply the denominators. And always, Panthers, remember, all answers must be simplified for credit. So let's take a look at an example problem here. We have 2/7 divided by 4/5. Okay. Remember, we're going to turn the second fraction upside down, and we're going to find the reciprocal of 4/5. Okay. So we're going to do nothing with the first fraction, and instead of dividing we're going to multiply. So again, no x's, I'm going to use a dot, and then I'm going to do the reciprocal of the second fraction. I'm going to flip it, so the 5 is now on top and the 4 is on the bottom. Okay, so again, you're doing 1 opposite and 2 opposites. Then you can go through the cross-canceling process, recognizing that both 2 and 4 are divisible by 2, so we divide both of them out by 2, and we get a 1 and a 2. And then we go ahead and multiply our numerators together. 1 times 5 is 5, and our denominator 7 times 2 is 14. And 5/14 cannot be simplified anymore because there are no factors that go into 5 and 14 both evenly. So we've simplified, and this is our final answer. Not too shabby. Let's take a look at some examples. Letter A. So the directions again are to divide. We know that we're going to do nothing to the first fraction. Instead of dividing, we are going to do what, Panthers? Multiply. And instead of dividing, we're multiplying by the reciprocal of the second fraction. So I'm going to flip this and make this 3/2. Do you see anything that might be able to kind of cancel out here? Any numbers, any numerators and denominators that can be divisible by the same thing? Hopefully you see this 3 and 9. Both 3 and 9 are divisible by 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 9 divided by 3 is 3. Okay, so we have 5 times 1 for our numerators, and 3 times 2 for our denominators. And we get the answer of 5/6. Let's take a look at B. So we do nothing to the first fraction. Instead of dividing, we multiply by the reciprocal of the second fraction. When I flip this, I'd get 4/3, which is improper. No big deal. Panthers, look for any numerators and denominators that can be divisible by the same number. Hopefully you see that 4 and 8 are both divisible by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. And then we go ahead and multiply across. 1 times 1 for our numerators is 1, and 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, and letter C. Again, nothing to the first fraction. Instead of dividing, we multiply by the reciprocal of the second fraction. If I flip this, I get 15 on top and 8 on the bottom. I'm going to look for some numbers that can be canceled out or simplified here. Both 5 and 15 are divisible by 5, so 5 divided by 5 is 1. 15 divided by 5 is 3. I also have 4 and 8 here, which are both divisible by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. Now I can go ahead and multiply across. 1 times 3 is 3, and 1 times 2 is 2. Now, this particular fraction is improper. Therefore, in other words, our numerator is equal to or greater than our denominator. And I don't know if you remember this, Panthers, but you would actually do 3 divided by 2. 2 goes into 3 one whole time with 1 remaining. So 3 halves is the same as 1 1/2. And again, hopefully you remember that. And we are good. So this is your video for dividing fractions. Again, you can move ahead as you see fit. This is the last video in this series. Again, if you're struggling with any of these basic operations with fractions, make sure you're letting me know. We will move into some more difficult ideas with fractions, including mixed numbers and bringing back those negatives. So again, let me know if you need anything, and have a good day.